Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new video for you all today. Starting off today, we have my current biggest PK to date, with a massive Armadyl Godsword spec and a little bit of luck. I did manage to finally kill my first ever max major. Overall loot being one of my biggest loot keys yet, and the overall PK in general was definitely one of my biggest PKs to date, so that really does set the tone for this video. If you guys enjoy the video today, this will be my last one at the Rev Caves for a while, but before we do get started though, we do have some quick words from our sponsor today, NordVPN. Get the exclusive NordVPN deal using my link below, or just by going to nordvpn.com/OSRS. NordVPN is risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It is so easy to use, being able to just click one time or enable auto-connect for zero-click protection. 5,400 servers in 60 different countries. This truly is a chance to find a server close to you for better speed, or a faraway location for even more content. Found on every major platform featuring Windows, Android, iOS, even your Android TV supports NordVPN. Unblock your favorite games and geo-restricted servers. Don't let your location limit where you can play. Avoid DDoS attacks that significantly slow down your connection and block malware-ridden websites. There is so many perks to using NordVPN, so the real question is, what are you waiting for? Use my link in the description below now, or go to nordvpn.com/OSRS. And a huge thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So we started off with my biggest PK ever, and we follow it up with another huge risk on my part, and being 1 HP during the end of that fight, I definitely didn't think I'd survive, but it did get us an 11 mil loot key in return. That was a pretty crazy fight. That brought me all the way into multi next to Bandit Camp from deep inside the Rev Cave, so I really do feel like I earned that one. And following that, we did have a very nice Dragon Crossbow PK, a couple 1 mil PKs, a couple 1 mil loot keys to follow. All of that is credited to the Dragon Claw Elder Maul Ballista combination. Sometimes I would even skull up with all of this gear, and I'd be risking upwards of 50 mil depending if I brought my Ring of Suffering or not. But most of the time I did not want to skull up, and you will see why at the very end of this video, the last clip of why you should never skull up at the Rev Cave, especially when you're risking a lot. I did also run into a guy who was claiming to be a dragon, so that was something that I was not expecting, and unfortunately he did quickly teleport out, but the Elder Maul definitely would have slayed that dragon had he stayed a little bit longer. Sometimes when I would be at the Revenant Cave entrance, I would see a low-level PKer attacking someone, and if this person was able to exit the cave, I would be able to PJ onto the PKer and start attacking him right away, and this did result in a couple kills, but again, I'd have to skull up with the claw spec and kind of just hope for the best and plan a quick escape. And at the same time that I was PKing, I would also be hopping worlds all around the orcs, mainly because the orcs, you find a lot lower level PKers and people who are a little bit more inexperienced than the PKers that you see at the dragon. And something that I did not anticipate was actually smiting one of my first Armadyl Godsword smites. I'd say probably have had 3 since this clip, but yeah, that was an incredible moment getting an Armadyl Godsword PK. Fortunately, this person did find me from the stream, and they were not expecting to lose their +1, so I gave it back. You gotta add in some karma points eventually, so we weren't keeping that AGS, but nevertheless, it was nice to see that. There is one point in this video as we are seeing all of these kills kind of compile up here, different gear setups and whatnot. By far, my favorite setup is now full DH, and sculling up with that, and also being unskulled with it, risking 5 mil every single time. I definitely see a lot more kill potential with that setup, but I really do love this old school 2008 look with the Torags, Carols, and crossbow. I think it's really nice. It really is intimidating. I mean, the amount of people that just teleport just because they can't hit me because of my defense bonus, or because of how much I'm hitting them, since I have so much DPS, whether I'm unskulled or not, really makes for some good fights no matter who you are up against. And really, in the making of this video, there was just the Rev boss killed a couple different times. I was killing Revs anytime that I was unskulled, and that would just kind of be my way to attract the PKer to come to me first. And I would bank all of the loot that I would get over time killing these Revs, but since this is really just a straightforward PvP related video, there's not a whole lot of Rev loot accounted for in this one. Needless to say, especially with all these clips being shown, I think the Orc is definitely the hot spot for me personally to go for as many PKers as possible. It just seems to be like the ideal place. And now you might see some similar usernames in this video, like one guy I think fought me 10 times and died to me 9 of those times, and then he killed me once. And this is not to just, kind of have paid actors or anything. I get that comment a lot on my Twitch streams that I pay people to die to me. No, not at all. It's more so just people seeing me on stream, especially since this video you're seeing here was, I think, all of the 50-hour stream that I did here in one sitting. And, the more sleep deprived you are, the more people that want to fight you and the more they think that they can kill you. So in other words, although I did fight a lot of the same people, just looking at the KDR, I was doing pretty good, especially in the later hours of this stream. So, shout out to anyone who did fight me and helped keep me awake and, keep the wilderness a little bit more alive. I certainly won't complain because most of the time they were risking more than me, and anywhere from 2 to 5 mil would be my risk, and I'd always get these 1.6 to 2 mil PKs, so if it wasn't the same as me, it would be a little bit more than me. Occasionally you'd see a Berserker ring or a Brimstone ring or something like that, and that would really add to the price check. So added in a few close calls during this video when I'd almost kill some pretty big riskers. I did add a couple deaths as well, but I really wanted to mainly focus on all of my successful PKs, doing all sorts of revenants, killing PVMers and PKers alike, and really just kind of seeing different loot keys all around. Some of them would be 5 mil, others would be less than a mil, some occasional 10, 20 mils. Really just depends on who you're fighting and who you are lucky enough to kill. In this video where they did update the looting key drop, where if you had a double death, they did fix it so that you'd have to run back and pick up the loot, but still, I think I had a couple of clips during this where I was able to keep both of the keys, so that was really nice on my part. Not sure why RNG was in my favor, but I will certainly take it because double deaths can be very expensive if they're not in your favor. One weapon that I really didn't use much during this video at all was the Ancient God Sword. I really just stuck with the Claws, Ballista, Elder Maul, and if I wasn't going to do that, I was going to do the Cross to AGS. I always like how you can take a sip of a potion into your AGS spec, and you can switch into that God Sword without your opponent noticing, so I was a big fan of that, and that's what I was always trying to do in order to get the kill. There would be occasions where the opponent of mine would not be praying range at all, they would just be praying melee, making it almost impossible for you to even want to kill them at that point, but that's why you always have the backup Ballista special attack. Now this special attack is one of the most inaccurate things I've ever seen in my life, but I did fight a huge risker and I specced him twice in a row with it, 2 different fights, and it chanced him both times, so it's really just all about RNG at that point. I would have had a big max mage PK much sooner than the first clip you guys saw in this video. That was actually one of my newest clips, but yeah, just couldn't really get it. Could not get the hits that I needed at the times that I needed it most. But it's okay because as you can see here, these loot keys are just adding up. I mean, anytime you kill anyone in the Rev Caves, I think at minimum you're going to get 250k. On average, it's going to be about 500k to 1.5 mil. Depending on, of course, if you kill PKers or PVMers, and I was just making a lot of money during this video. I think I started this with probably about a 500 mil bank, and towards the end of it, along with doing a couple PVM related things, I did have close to about 750 mil was my peak, so I made a lot of money from the Revenants. I made a decent amount of profit from the PKers, and although I died quite a bit, I would say this was by far the most fun I've had in RuneScape in quite some time. Spending like 2 months here at the Rev Caves, I know that the videos haven't really been that great. Not, I guess you could say they haven't been done as well as they could have. There was definitely more of an element to just kind of show you guys the PKs for what they are and not really add this into a specific loot series or a title, but I figure since this channel is just all loot, that's why I just keep naming these videos 10 hours of this, 10 hours of that. Even though it is much more than 10 hours, it just kind of gives you a summary of what you can expect here in the Rev Caves in 2022 after all of the PvP updates have been implemented, and you really get a sense of variety in all the people that you can run into here. And it's always nice to be told that, I've inspired people to, go to the Rev Caves anti-PK a little bit, not to just run away from the PKers, try to fight back, and, occasionally people do tell me that they have the randomest moment where they PK a massive amount because the person was like AFK or they just didn't eat at the right time. And so, yeah, there's so many different elements of luck to being inside here, and it just made for some of the most fun that I've ever had. Kind of reminded me back of the 2017 Rev Caves, even though it's not multi anymore and it's not like heavily gold farmed, I guess as much as it used used to be. And there's no clans. It's just kind of a quieter time in the caves. And yeah, it was a really good month or two that I spent there. Definitely going to miss it, but I have so much more planned for YouTube and so much more planned for variety that I think I've seen enough of the Rev Caves for the next year or so. But hey, if they ever make another update, I'll be back here. I do know that there's a decent amount, at least 20,000 of you guys that really do enjoy watching these videos. So I really appreciate it. You know, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking the time out of your day, especially if you watch the streams too. And I'll be back on Twitch probably tomorrow, actually, doing different things other than Revs. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope to see you all there. Don't plug my Twitch that much, but feel free to check it out. It's pretty easy to find. And if you're ever curious of the chat box at the bottom left of the screen, basically whenever it would be a late hour and like 30 minutes to, 45 minutes would go by and I would just be killing these Revs and no PKer was showing up, I would always try to encourage people by just giving my world out or giving a bounty over my head of like 5 mil. So that really does help you get fights if you're, deciding to live stream this sort of thing. I feel like through this past month, I definitely grew as a PKer. I learned a lot of tactics of staying alive. I always thought I kind of knew what I was doing, but I was kind of reminded multiple times throughout the last couple months that I have no idea what I'm doing at times. And, panicking and clicking quickly only gets you so far. I think being precise and taking your time with things definitely can get you the kill more so than if you're like me and you're panicking every single second of the fight and just never eating when you need to. So I don't know, I just had so much fun with this one and I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed doing it. A lot of deaths and a lot of supplies used, but we're always going to be making profit in the end, so that's all right with me. Did want to save the very last clip of the video to kind of show you guys why you should not skull at the Revenant Caves. I accidentally declaw-spec'd this guy when I thought he was AFK and quickly he full TB'd me and I ran into multi like an idiot. And I did lose the crossbow as well as the Ring of Suffering. So yeah, probably a couple other things too. So it was a lot of money lost on that one death there. You know what? That was the only time that I died at the Rev Cave Skull recently with a crossbow. So that's not too bad. I also have a crossbow PK clip that I'm going to try to find for you guys, kind of throw it into my next PVMing video, a little random clip for you, but I couldn't find it for this one. So there was a couple other big moments this month or two, but for the most part, I think this video kind of covered mostly everything that I haven't shown you guys so far. So many different Revenant videos lately, and thank you guys so much for watching them all. Next video you guys see will either be related to rune crafting, achievement diaries, or PVMing. I'm really not sure yet, but I am excited to try something new out and get it out to you guys as soon as possible. A huge thank you to you all for watching today's video. I'd say the overall profit from this one was well over 100 to 200 mil. It's just really hard to say based on the KDR, but nevertheless, the bank is still thriving, close to 700 mil, and life is good. So thank you guys very much for watching. A huge thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. Hope you guys check them out. Really cool link they gave me there. And until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Mr. No Sleep out.